The first thing anyone noticed that morning wasn't the lawyers, or the judge, or even the man on trial. It was the little wooden chair. Placed right beside the witness stand, it looked fragile, almost out of place in a courtroom built for serious adults and heavy matters of law. Yet everyone knew why it was there, and who it was for. Emma Harper. 3 years old. The youngest witness this courthouse had ever seen. The reporters whispered nervously, their pens ready. The jurors leaned forward, unsure of what they were about to hear. And the judge, a man with decades of trials behind him, sat unusually still, as though even he felt the weight of what was coming, the father who meant everything. Emma's father, Daniel Harper, had been the kind of man people trusted. He owned a small corner store, nothing fancy, but it was the heart of the neighborhood. He let people pay late when they were struggling, slipped candy to kids who came in with pockets full of coins but still short by a dime, and never turned away a hungry soul. For Emma, he was more than a father. He was her hero. She would climb into his lap after long days, tug on his sleeve and say, "Daddy, you're the strongest." He'd laugh and kiss her forehead. But one night, all of that was stolen. Emma was there when the man in the hood stormed into the store. She remembered the way the bell above the door jingled, a sound that would haunt her for years. She remembered clutching her stuffed bunny as her father calmly told her to hide. She remembered the loud bang, and the way her father's strong arms didn't reach for her again. The police arrived too late. Emma's mother screamed. And Emma, barely able to understand, sat silently, rocking back and forth with her bunny in her lap. But her young eyes had seen something. Something that would matter more than anyone realized, the man's shoes. Red sneakers, with a hole torn at the side. The struggle for justice. The police quickly arrested a suspect. His name was Marcus Dillard, a man with a long criminal record. In his apartment, they found red sneakers with a torn hole. It seemed like the case was solved, except the defense argued the evidence was circumstantial. Without a strong witness, the case was weak. And the only real witness was Emma. But how could a 3-year-old testify? How could she sit in front of strangers and describe the night her father was taken from her? Detective Sarah Monroe was the first to suggest it. "She doesn't have to talk to us," she said. "She doesn't have to talk to the lawyers or the judge. She just needs someone she feels safe with." And that's when they brought in Rex. The dog who would change everything. Rex wasn't new to courage. For years, he had been a police K-9, chasing criminals, sniffing out danger, protecting his human partners. But now, retired after an injury, his job was gentler. He had been trained as a therapy dog for children who had to face terrifying situations. When Rex met Emma for the first time, it was like watching two broken hearts recognize each other. She didn't speak to the adults in the room, but she walked straight to Rex, buried her little hands in his fur, and whispered, "You're safe." From that moment on, Emma and Rex were inseparable. He slept by her bed, walked with her to the courthouse, and gave her the strength her father once had. The courtroom. On the day of her testimony, Emma wore a pale yellow dress with a bow her mother had tied carefully at the back. Her little shoes clicked softly as she walked. The sound echoed in the silent courtroom. She didn't look at the rows of strangers staring at her. She didn't look at the man sitting at the defense table. She walked straight to Rex. He wagged his tail once, slow and steady, as if to say, "I'm here." The judge leaned forward. "Emma, can you tell us what you remember?" But Emma didn't look at the judge. She didn't look at the prosecutor. She knelt beside Rex, and began to speak to him, the words no one was ready for. "Rex," she whispered, her voice soft but clear enough for the microphone, "I saw the bad man hurt Daddy. Daddy told me to hide, but I saw his face. He was angry. He pushed Daddy. And then he made a loud bang. Daddy fell." Gasps rippled through the room. Emma clutched Rex's fur tighter. "I remember his shoes, Rex. They were red. One had a hole here." She pointed at her own sneaker. The jury exchanged shocked glances. That detail, the hole in the shoe, wasn't public knowledge. It was something only the killer and investigators knew. The man at the defense table shifted uncomfortably, his face pale. Emma leaned down, pressing her forehead against Rex's. "Daddy said to be brave. Daddy said the truth is stronger than bad people. So I'm telling the truth, Rex. I'm brave." At that moment, hardened detectives wiped their eyes. Reporters lowered their cameras, tears blurring their viewfinders. Even the judge, known for being stern and unshakable, cleared his throat and looked away. The turning point. The defense attorney tried to argue that Emma was too young to be credible, but it was useless. The jury had seen the honesty in her eyes, the innocence that no adult could fake. The prosecutor closed with trembling hands. "Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the truth. Not from me, not from detectives, but from a child." She remembered what no one else could. She had the courage to stand here and tell you. That is more powerful than any argument you will hear in this courtroom. The verdict. The jury didn't take long. Guilty on all counts. Marcus Dillard would never walk free again. When the verdict was read, Emma didn't fully understand. She simply hugged Rex and whispered, "We did it. We helped Daddy." Her mother wept openly, clutching her daughter, whispering over and over, "He'd be so proud of you." The aftermath. The story spread across the nation. 3-year-old speaks to police dog in court. No one was prepared for her words. Photos of Emma hugging Rex appeared in newspapers. TV anchors told her story with tears in their eyes. Letters poured in from strangers, parents, children, even veterans, telling Emma that her courage had inspired them. Rex became a symbol of hope too. Schools invited Emma and Rex to visit. Emma, still so young, would simply pat Rex's head and say, "This is Rex. He helps me be brave." Years later, Emma grew up with that moment shaping her life. She never forgot the lesson her father had taught her, that the truth is stronger than bad people. When she turned 18, she adopted Rex officially, giving him the peaceful retirement he deserved. When she turned 25, she walked across a stage, graduating law school, determined to become a prosecutor herself. She wanted to help others the way the court had once helped her. At her graduation speech, she told her story. "I was only 3 years old when I testified. But I learned something that day. Justice doesn't always come from the strongest voice. Sometimes, it comes from the smallest one. And sometimes, courage has 4 legs and a wagging tail." The crowd rose to its feet, applauding. And sitting proudly in the front row, his muzzle now gray, was Rex, the dog who had given her courage when the world expected her to stay silent. The message that lasts forever. Emma's story isn't just about crime, or a trial, or even justice. It's about truth. It's about the bond between a little girl and a dog who gave her the courage to speak. It's about the reminder that no matter how small we are, our voices matter. And that sometimes, the purest words come from the most innocent hearts. Because that day in court, a 3-year-old child didn't just speak. She spoke for her father. She spoke for justice. And she showed the world that even the tiniest voice can echo louder than any lie. And no one, absolutely no one, was prepared for her words.